Get ready to hear the truth about America on a show that's not immune to the facts with your host, Dan Bongino.
And do I got a weekend update for you? What happened this weekend? Total trip. It's one of those things you're like, did that happen like I think it happened? Or was like I blinded by some tequila fog or something? But it did. I got that. Court case opens up today again with Donald Trump. Michael Cohen acknowledges he stole money from the Trump team. Can this thing get any worse? The judge blows it. The Iranian president's dead. Like, could anything else have happened this weekend? Big show today. Hey, Beam's Dream Powder. You know I love it. It's their science-backed hot cocoa for sleep. They're giving our listeners up to 45% off on Memorial Day at shopbeam.com/Bongino. Use code Bongino at checkout to get up to 45% off. I got that. Also, the headline of the show today, ladies and gentlemen, is a Democrat plan developing right now to dump Biden. That was not a clickbait headline. It is not the person you think. I can tell because I was in the chat early and nobody guessed it. It's right there in front of you. You'll see what I mean. Stay tuned. Big show today. ExpressVPN.com/Bongino. You know about these data brokers and middlemen collecting and selling the digital footprints you leave online? They use your browsing history and location data to sell your profile off to a company who delivers you a targeted ad. You might be surprised to learn that these same data brokers are also selling your information to the Department of Homeland Security and the IRS. That's no good. To mask my digital footprints, I protect myself with ExpressVPN. Brokers aggregate data and they tie it back to you through your device's unique IP address, which also reveals information about your location. When you're connected to ExpressVPN, your IP address is hidden, making it difficult for them to identify who you are. ExpressVPN also encrypts 100% of your network traffic to keep your data safe from hackers on public Wi-Fi. So I have the ExpressVPN app downloaded on all my devices, phone, computer, even home Wi-Fi router. All I do is tap a button and I'm protected. It's that easy. Get the best VPN money can buy. Go to expressvpn.com/Bongino now. Get 3 extra months free. That's expressvpn.com/Bongino. All right, Guy, let's go. So I had an interesting weekend. What? What are you laughing at? A lot of drama this morning, folks. You have no idea. A lot of drama. There's always like stuff going on behind. I should do a show about the behind the scenes of the Dan Bongino show. Be epic. Be like a soap opera series. You guys have no idea. It's amazing. That right? We should sell it to like Hulu or something like that. You could Kardashians behind keeping up with the Bonginos and this whole drill. So this weekend I go out. Friday I left after the show and I had to go do some stuff Saturday morning down in Fort Lauderdale. So I went to go get one of those full body scans. It's my weekend update. Of course, you all know I do it every Monday. You ever get one of these scans? It's a full body MRI. Folks, you're in there like an hour. It's pretty cool. Prenovo. It's PRENUVO. It's not an ad. They didn't pay me or anything like that. It's just something I do, with the whole cancer thing. So I was down in Fort Lauderdale. It's like an hour and a half away from my house. So Paul and I are down there and we're like, you know what? We should go by the Hard Rock. I'd been to the Hard Rock before. They did the Patriot Awards there with Fox. We had a good time, really nice people down there. And, let's play a little blackjack. So we decide, we'll go out. We go and have a steak. This place, Council Oak. You ever eat there in the Hard Rock? Amazing. We find out when we get there that the reason we couldn't get a reservation the night before Friday, because we were going to stay there and then go to the scan on Saturday morning instead. The reason we couldn't get a reservation is the Sports Illustrated swimsuit party was there Friday. And they were still there Saturday. So there were a lot of men in the hotel too. I don't know why. It's the craziest coincidence ever. So the place is packed. We have a steak at Council Oak. People couldn't have been nicer. The food was amazing. The steak there was killer. And we go after we have, a couple adult sodas, whatever. And we're playing some blackjack, So surprisingly, we did well. We didn't bring a lot of money, at all. I mean, we had like a set amount in our head and we figured we're willing to lose this in an hour or so. We ended up playing for like 2 hours and we didn't even lose all the money, which was crazy. So I don't play blackjack to make money. I'm not good enough, but we were good enough to not lose that long. But here's where the story gets bananas. So it's still early. It's only like 9:30, 10. Paul is like, you want to have a drink before we go upstairs? I was like, yeah, why not? So we go to this bar with a cool bartender and we're sitting there. So I leave for a minute. I go hit the bathroom. I'm gone like maybe 5 minutes. I come back. There's some dude talking to Paula, right there. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I said, for a second, I sit back. I'm like, what? So I walk up and there are a bunch of people who know who we are who are kind of laughing because this guy comes up. He has no idea who Paula is. He starts hitting on Paula. Wasn't being like a jerk or anything like that. I mean, he didn't know who Paula was. But he's like, hey, listen, I'm going to take you out to dinner. She's like, well, I'm married. He's like, well, I like married women. So he's going into this whole routine. I come up. The guy looks at me. He goes, holy damn, Bongino, what are you doing here? I'm like, that's my wife. He's like, no way. He doesn't even miss a beat. The dude doesn't miss a beat. He doesn't like say apologize or anything for like talking to Paula when she says, no, he asked Paula to take a picture of me and him. Like, did that just happen? It's the greatest story ever. I'm like, hey, bro, nice meeting you. Have a nice day. Whatever. Craziest freaking weekend ever. All right, there's my weekend update, man. I'm telling you, I had a good time with it, folks. It was hilarious. Woke up the next day, came back. Now we're back for the show. But a lot happened this weekend. The Michael Cohen Twinkies case is back on, ladies and gentlemen, in New York. In case you think this thing couldn't have possibly gotten any worse, it magically has. Michael Cohen, Trump's lawyer, acknowledges this morning that he stole somewhere up to $60,000 for the Trump organization. This guy sounds amazing. I'm telling you, can this guy's credibility get any worse? And the judge in this case, Merchan, I'll have full coverage of this tomorrow too, is just a disaster. While he let Stormy Daniels on the stand go on and on describing some kind of faux porno or something like that. Here with Donald Trump. While he let that go on, nothing to do with the case at all. The Trump team says, hey, we'd like to bring in an FEC, Federal Elections Commission expert, to basically show that no federal election law has been violated, which would throw the whole case out. The judge is like, no, we don't need to hear from him. Like, why would that be relevant to a case about election law and, quote, interfering in an election? This guy is freaking amazing. I have never seen anyone so conflicted in my life. The dude is an embarrassment to the legal profession. Folks, this case is a disaster. They cannot win. If they win this case, they lose because they look like police state tyrants, and this judge looks even worse. If they lose, they lose. A hung jury, they lose. An acquittal, they lose. Either way, they lose. They drop the case, they lose. They will lose. Donald Trump is up dramatically. He's got a rally in the South Bronx coming up. Beautiful idea. The case is a mess. So let me get to what I want to talk about before that broke this morning. Is there a plan developing to dump Joe Biden? Folks, we got to start getting serious about this right now. First, someone sent me this question on Facebook this morning, and I wanted to address this because this all is tied in together. The debate, the Biden being dumped, the Democrat convention, this is all tied in, and I am going to make this nice for you so everybody understands it easily. Guy says, hi, Dan, I was unsure where to ask you a question. Are you concerned at all that CNN and the moderators are in the tank for Biden? He'll be given the debate questions beforehand, or the Biden campaign will basically dictate to the moderators what the questions will be. Am I concerned about that? Of course I would be concerned about that. But ladies and gentlemen, this guy is so mentally compromised, he doesn't even know how to get off a stage at an event when he was told 5 minutes before where to go. Do you really believe he's going to memorize 15 or 20 debate questions? This guy doesn't even know his name. He told people today he was the vice president during the pandemic or yesterday. The guy's a mess. Am I concerned about it? Yes. Is it fair? Of course not. It's outright trying to steal the debate. But this guy is a mess. What does that have to do with the plan to dump this guy? I'm absolutely convinced right now that the debates are going to be the last straw for them. Folks, there's only one of two scenarios I see here. That the debates were a way to get him out. In other words, they scheduled it early enough that he doesn't want to leave. Follow me here, Joe Biden. He does not want to leave. He doesn't want to stop running. And they can't do anything unless he stops running. I am convinced that this is them putting them up to it. His staff putting him up to it. So when he bombs and his polling drops another 1 or 2 points, that they say to him, Mr. President, you can't win. We need your way out. Or option two, the Democrats are praying one last time that they can stimulate this guy for 2 hours and that he may be able to rescue this campaign. Stimulate part we'll get to later. I know with Hunter Biden, you may be thinking something different, but it's not that. Now, why does this come up? Why did this come up? Daily Mail. I don't trust John Kasich, former Republican candidate for president, as far as I can throw him. But this weekend, he thinks there may be a secret plot to replace Joe Biden as a Democrat's presidential candidate. James Gordon, Daily Mail, wrote this piece up. Folks, we better have a backup plan for a relief pitcher, man. Because the writing's on the wall right now. And the ongoing media freakout about the possibility that Biden may be giving cognitive enhancing performance drugs, this is all tied together. The fact that the media is worried about Biden being pharmacologically enhanced and that this debate was agreed to early is all tied together. Let's compare Trump versus Biden here and see what's going on and how bad this is going to be. This is their only chance. Now, follow me. Is there a plot to get rid of this guy? Nate Silver introduced a very intriguing possibility this week. Folks, who could the Democrats possibly be looking at to replace him? RFK. Oh, you think I'm crazy? Oh, you're a conservative. You're nuts. No, RFK is a dyed-in-the-wool liberal. Guns, abortion, the environment, taxes, period. We know it. He's always been a dyed-in-the-wool liberal. Nate Silver is not a conservative at all. James Freeman sums up in this piece, Democrats' last chance to dump Biden. He quotes a number of people. I'm just giving you the Nate Silver angle. He says, you notice basically they moved the first debate, the Democratic, before the convention in August. The Democrats agreed to a debate way before the Democrat convention in August. He notes the Democrats increased their option value. Here's what I mean by that. If Biden totally and irrecoverably screws up the June debate, he's just obviously no longer ready for prime time. Then he can step down and Democrats can hold a contested convention. Folks, what if CNN winds up letting RFK into this thing? And RFK in this debate, if he gets in this debate, does okay in, say, this June debate, he's going to, you've noticed RFK has taken this liberal tilt lately too. I think they may be giving this guy potentially a dry run. They know they're in real trouble right now. They're doing a Hail Mary pass right now with the black community. And I think they're worried that whatever they may be giving this guy to keep him stimulated. And by the way, liberals telling us to stop talking about it. You can go yourself. You guys, there were stories everywhere. Is Donald Trump on Adderall? Is Donald Trump Jr. on cocaine? You guys can shut the, because you have zero credibility with me. If the president of the United States is taking some cognitive enhancing drug is a viable question. You can plan a wet one on my ass if you think I'm going to stop talking about it while you mutts talk about Donald Trump and his fake drug problems because you're jealous. You want him to have drug problems just like Hunter Biden. And you talking about Donald Trump on these drugs all the time? You don't think it's fair to ask us how Joe Biden, a guy who can barely pronounce his name and lies all the time, can barely walk on stage, shows up at the State of the Union and seems like a different guy? You can kiss my ass. Now, everyone in the chat, what's the golden rule? When they tell us not to talk about something, what do? We talk about it twice. They're scared. So I see one of two options. They hope the drugs will get him through the debate and rescue his campaign, or if the debate fails, they now have an option if RFK is willing to take on the mantle and move forward. Folks, the guy's dying out there, Biden. I don't mean physically dying. I mean his campaign is dying. We're all dying. Fox News, Biden mocked for apparent small showing of supporters in a Democrat city. Quote, nobody cared. This guy is in a world of trouble, amigos. Don't laugh at this RFK theory. It's not just me saying it. There are a number of people out there. Kamala Harris has no chance. They know that. Newsom's garbage. Everybody knows that. He's having trouble in California. Pritzker and Whitmer don't have close to the name ID. Shapiro in Pennsylvania, I'm sure they're all trying. He's probably the only viable option for them that's not crazy. I mean, by Democrat standards, not by normal persons. And nobody knows who he is either. RFK's already got a campaign organization on the ground. He's a dyed-in-the-wool liberal, and they probably think he can pull away some Trump people. This is them talking, not me. I don't think that's the case. Look at this guy this weekend at Morehouse, Biden. You're telling me I should be worried about this guy? And listen, I don't underestimate anyone. The guy doesn't even look at him. Is he like, is he having a diaper incident again? You know, was he club? What is he? You didn't even that. Where do I go? What am I looking for? Oh, look. I wonder if that guy behind him looks like an agent, by the way. I'm pretty sure. Notice he's not responding at all. He's not doing a good job pretending he's not an agent. Look at Biden. He never knows. He looks like he's having another X-Lax moment or something like that. Is he holding something in? I have no idea. What am I looking for? The guy's, listen, don't underestimate the guy in a debate. I just told you, if there's some performance-enhancing drugs, I don't know that. I haven't been told that. But it's a fair question, is it not? But don't overestimate him either. Look, come on. Seriously? Like that, you got to, if you're going to do the whole routine with it, then at least pretend you're part of the ceremony. It's right. The guy's, he said, right? Doesn't he? Avita thinks like the guy in the background. He's even looking, I can't believe I'm on this detail with this guy. You know what he's there for, right? You know why he's there? Yes. I didn't think you would get that. He's not there in case Biden gets attacked from behind by the professors. He's there in case Biden falls on his ass so he can catch him. That's the only reason that guy is there. Now, this campaign is broken so bad. Biden goes to Morehouse College, historically black college or university. He goes there, and what does he do? He tells a bunch of graduates of Morehouse it's the best day of their life. They're getting ready to take on the world. He tells them basically they're a bunch of victims and brings up a George Floyd comparison. Ladies and gentlemen, this race-baiting, kid-sniffing, plagiarizing, sociopathic, lying lunatic has nothing else. Trust me on this. There are only two scenarios. Get this guy through the debate, no matter how you got to do it, or use the debate to tell him he sucks, dump him, and look at RFK or someone else, because this is all this guy has left. Pathetic, disgusting race-baiting at Morehouse. Check this out.
It's natural to wonder if democracy you hear about actually works for you. What is democracy? If black men are being killed in the street, what is democracy? The trail of broken promises still leave black communities behind. What is democracy? You have to be 10 times better than anyone else to get a fair shot. And most of all, what does it mean, as we've heard before, to be a black man who loves his country, even if it doesn't love him back in equal measure?
You believe this piece of garbage? He goes to what should be this proud moment for these young black men and graduating at Morehouse. And what does he do? He tells everyone they're a victim. The country hates you. This is the kind of piece of human waste this guy is. He's absolute garbage. Folks, trust me on this one. There is Kasich is crazy. I don't trust Kasich at all. With that headline at the Daily Mail about the secret plan to get rid of him, I don't think he's crazy here. I don't. I can almost guarantee he's telling the truth. That there is a little plot, cabal behind the scenes where these Democrats right now are starting to realize that June is the last opportunity, the debates, for Biden to save himself. If he doesn't save himself and he doesn't change direction at the debate, no matter how they got to do it, that's going to be the end of him. There's no way they can keep up with this guy. No way. He's just destroying his entire campaign. Now, I said I was going to compare and contrast him with Donald Trump because campaigns are contrast. Contrasts matter. When you have a guy incapable of getting out a coherent thought without race baiting and sounding vigorous and energetic, and then you get a guy who's not that much younger than Biden, but who goes out there and just tears it up on stage, it makes Donald Trump look even younger and more vigorous than Biden because the contrast is so profound. This is probably the best, just from a humor perspective, I've seen Donald Trump in a long time. He was in an unusually good mood in Minnesota. He was given this speech. This is about 1 minute and 10 seconds of it, ladies and gentlemen. Freaking hilarious. Trump tears it up at the speech. Compare and contrast this with the angry, just a feeble loser Biden fishing around on stage, never knowing where he's going. Take a look.
But Americans are not struggling. This is the worst platform. Who put this stage up here? This is the worst. The frickin' place is falling down. It keeps tilting further left. Like too many other things. What a crappy contractor this was. He's all about disinformation. Pilots come in, he said, I used to fly a plane. Truckers come in, I used to drive a truck. People come in from Minnesota. I used to live in Minnesota. Right? He is so full of shit, this guy. Terrible. No, I have fake Tapper is they said, I just want to debate this guy, but, and I'm going to demand a drug test, too, by the way. I am. No, I really am.
Folks, there's no comparison. Oh, I was even unsolicited. He didn't do it. He never clapped. Folks, that's freaking hilarious. Listen, it doesn't matter if he's funny. No, it does. You want to like your candidate. Somebody likes Joe Biden. He's telling a bunch of black men and women, oh, you're all victims. It's horrible at their college graduation. While Trump's joking about the podium leading left and going, hey, I want a drug test before this debate. I want it too. And the fact that the left-wing media will erupt to this show means we'll talk about it again. And it means what? Always gauge how you should proceed forward on the gas pedal by how the left responds. If they're freaking out, it means there's something there. Quick break, and I'll show you what I mean. NBC themselves, and it's MSNBC piece, they are really worried about you asking questions, especially about the drugs thing. Hey, everyone thinks mortgage rates are extremely high, but that's not entirely true. Mortgage rates are much lower than the average credit card rate of 22%. Think about how much interest you're going to pay on that credit card if you're only paying the minimum payment every month. If you're a homeowner, a cash-out refinance with American Financing can help you pay off that debt and lower your monthly expenses. And the mortgage interest is tax deductible. They're saving homeowners just like you an average of $854 a month. Their salary-based mortgage consultants will show you how much you can save every month with no upfront fees and no obligation. You may even close in as fast as 10 days and possibly delay 2 mortgage payments, giving you greater savings upfront. Get the financial relief you need and stop living paycheck to paycheck. Call American Financing today at 888-994-7660. That's 888-994-7660. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net, AmericanFinancing.net, NMLS 122334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org. So Donald Trump throws it out there that, hey, man, listen, I think we should possibly do a drug test on Joe Biden. Hey, why not? Why wouldn't he do it? If it's all, bullshit, then Biden should be able to prove everybody wrong. I mean, the media was perfectly comfortable of accusing Donald Trump of some Adderall addiction and his son of a cocaine addiction. So if Donald Trump's saying, let's take a drug test, then let's take a drug test. I guess if you're right about Donald Trump and Adderall, then you'd find out, right? Oh, all of a sudden the media will change their story then because they're full of shit. Here, MSNBC. Why Trump accusing Biden of being on drugs is so ridiculous. It is. Steve Bannon. Steve knows that? Does Steve have, keep that up a second. Does Steve have access to Joe Biden's medical records? Hey, Steve, you canoe. If you have some privy inside information, because if you don't, you can't say how you open this up. In fact, you could say in speculation because you're guessing, right? Because you're a bullshit artist and you don't know a freaking thing. This is the same guy, by the way, in the same crew, who I'm sure with their left-wing bent didn't object to Donald Trump being accused of being on drugs. Prove me wrong. Steve Bannon. Yeah, Bannon with an E, not Steve Bannon. Good point. Every time I say Vox with a V instead of Fox, someone goes, what? No, Bannon, B-E-N. In fact, they note Biden was so good during his State of the Union that Trump and his cohorts want the public to believe the incumbent president must have been on something, as if there were no other possible explanations for his strong performance. What is the other possible explanation? Steve Bannon with an E. What? Please explain. What? What was he in Limitless with Bradley Cooper? He found that, what was that, the drug in it? What other explanation could there be? I live my life by Occam's razor, given all possible explanations except the one that's the most parsimonious, except the simplest one. In other words, keep it simple, stupid. How did Biden show up at the State of the Union? And it was a crap speech, by the way, but it was a less crappy speech than his other ones. How did he get through it? Seems pretty obvious to me that it could have been something. An X factor. What is that X factor? I don't know, folks, but don't you dare tell me not to consider the drug thing when you spent the last 6 years accusing everyone in basically the Trump family of being on drugs. You can kiss my ass. Let me get back and just restate the premise of the show because this is important. The debate is going to be the end for them. I don't mean that Biden's going to leave the next day. Don't misinterpret what I'm saying. His staff is either put him up to this to show him you suck, you can't win, move on, or his staff knows that and they want to see if they can get him through this somehow enhanced and rescue his campaign. That's it. There's no third option. And good for Maria Bartiromo and Byron Donalds in this video for taking this thing head on. Here's Byron Donalds on Maria Bartiromo. Everybody should be asking this question. This guy's the president of the United States. Is this guy on some kind of compound or not? It's a fair question. He's got the nuclear codes. He could annihilate the entire world. The Iranian president just went down in a freaking helicopter crash while Putin's getting ready to take Kharkiv again. I think it's important to know if the president needs cognitive enhancing drugs to stay awake. Take a look.
Should there be drug testing before these debates?
Maria, I'll tell you, I absolutely agree with that. There should. You could tell that Joe Biden comes in, he's jacked up, and then as the hour goes by, he slowly winds down. So the American people need to understand if they're giving him some injection so that he can actually look like he's coherent and he's with us, because the other parts of the time he's not. This is why we want to get the Hur tapes, because obviously during that session with Robert Hur, things did not go well. The American people need to understand what is the true mental capacity of Joe Biden.
Good job, Byron Donalds. I have this in all caps so you understand. Do not back off this question no matter what. This is absolutely a fair question. In case you think I'm making it up. All caps. Remember, always gauge the dangerousness of the questions you're asking. When I say dangerousness, I mean the dangerousness of the lefty narrative. By their response, why does the left freak out about replacement theory and demographic destiny? Because they talk about it all the time as a plot and they don't want you to notice. Just go back and look. Why is the left freaking out? This Steve Bannon with an E guy? How dare you ask if Biden's on drugs? Why would you? If he's not, what are you worried about? No, if he's not, why would take a drug test? What are you worried about? What's the big deal? This also explains another story this week, and here's where I tie it all together. So we've tied the debate to the drug test, to the moving the debate, to RFK potentially being allowed in the CNN debate. We'll see what happens with that. Folks, I'm telling you, they got a backup plan right now. It is also why the White House and the Department of Justice is at this point undoubtedly colluding to hide from you the Robert Hur tapes. Robert Hur is a special counsel who is investigating Joe Biden stealing a bunch of classified records, which they've already acknowledged. They just said he's too old and forgetful to remember anything. But the strange thing is, they've already released the transcript of Biden's interview, but they won't release the audio tapes. They won't release the tapes of Biden's conversation with her. Strange. You see how you get where I'm going with this, folks? It's only two possible scenarios for that, too. Let me take my last break, and I'm going to get to that. Stay tuned. It's going to tie this all together, how they are desperate to get this guy out or praying that the enhancers get him through. Folks, Helix, I got to tell you, I'm sleeping better and feeling better lately. I slept like a champion last night. It was a long weekend, thanks to my new Helix mattress. Everyone in the family loves these things. The Helix lineup offers 20 unique mattresses, including their award-winning Luxe and Ultra Premium Elite collections. The Helix Plus, a mattress designed for big and tall sleepers, and the Helix Kid mattress designed for growing bodies. Take the Helix Sleep Quiz and find your perfect mattress in under 2 minutes. And your personalized mattress is shipped straight to your door free of charge. Helix offers a 100-night trial and a 10 to 15-year warranty to try out your new Helix mattress. Every Helix mattress is a hybrid design. It combines individually wrapped steel coils in the base with premium foam layers on top. It's the perfect combination of comfort and support. Not only is the mattress the best I've slept on, the setup is fast and it's really easy. Helix is offering up to 30% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/Dan. That's HELIX, helixsleep.com/Dan. Pick one up today. It's our best offer yet. It won't last long with Helix. Better sleep starts now, starts tonight for you. Pick one up. Finally, Blackout Coffee. It's time to be awake, not woke. It's my favorite coffee. You know why? John owns this company. This guy's a great guy. I've spoken to him. Here's the thing, man. He loves this country. He's proud of this country. He makes a point of it. But he doesn't ask you to buy his coffee because of that. He asks you to buy his coffee because it's damn good coffee, and it tastes amazing. We're solicited by a lot of coffee companies. Blackout Coffee is the best. Everybody who picks it up loves it. I get all your feedback. The cinnamon French toast flavor is like a unique treat. I love it. I could drink it every morning. It tastes really good on Saturdays, too. The espresso is great. The regular coffee is amazing. Folks, they use premium grade coffee beans. A lot of people don't even know what that tastes like because you're drinking a lot of this woke garbage coffee. I'm proud to personally recommend Blackout. The folks at Blackout Coffee ship within 48 hours of roasting. Do me a favor. Check it out. Go to blackoutcoffee.com/Bongino. See what I'm talking about. They're the real deal. Blackoutcoffee.com/Bongino. Send me your reviews. You're going to love it. Blackoutcoffee.com/Bongino. Or you can use coupon code Bongino for an amazing 20% off your first order. Make the switch to Blackout Coffee. You're going to love it. I love it. A lot of cups of it a day. I really enjoy it. Check it out. All right, back to the show. So, does this all explain the fact that they're trying to hide the tapes of Joe Biden talking to the special counsel, but the transcript has already been released? The Wall Street Journal makes a fascinating point here. Biden is now claiming, Joe Biden, executive privilege over the tapes. Again, the transcript's already been released. They note this privilege claim is basically ridiculous on two grounds. First, the president's already waived the privilege right. It can't be reclaimed. Biden's already waived it on this interview. And then they note Biden conceded that the interview wasn't privileged and there's no legal basis to say that a recording is different from a transcript. There is no legal basis. We already have what he said. So at home, chat folks, are you following me here? We already know what he said. So why would Biden and Karine Jean-Pierre basically admit that the DOJ and Biden are now colluding to keep this thing secret? You doubt me? Listen to Karine Jean-Pierre. And again, I like to keep things simple. There are only two scenarios here. Two reasons why Biden is trying to hide the audio tapes of an interview where we already know what was said. Listen to Karine Jean-Pierre basically admitting to collusion with the DOJ. Check this out.
Why not just release them, especially with this White House's commitment to transparency?
Well, for one, the transcripts, as you all know, is already out there. I think the second piece of this, too, to note is that the Attorney General made it clear that law enforcement files like these need to be protected. And so the president made his determination at the request of the Attorney General. So just want to make that second point that I made really clear. The Department of Justice and the White House counsel's office have provided extensive written letters, as you all know. I'm sure some of you have read this on this issue. And like I said, that you have seen. And so when it comes to anything further or any specifics, obviously I would refer you to my colleagues at the White House.
How the hell did the DOJ make a recommendation to a president that's claiming executive privilege? The Attorney General's position is subordinate to the president. If the president waives privilege on the document, who the hell is the DOJ to tell him, no, it's a law enforcement issue, when it's not even a law enforcement issue because the special counsel's already said we're not going to prosecute him. It doesn't matter. Karine Jean-Pierre's lying. The question you should be asking yourself is not trying to explain that bullshit that just came out of her mouth. The DOJ, all this law enforcement. She's just making that up as she goes along because she's a moron. You should be asking yourself, why? Someone in the chat I was reading before just nailed it. It's one of two reasons. Number one, folks, was the transcript doctored? The transcript of Joe Biden and his interview with her about why he stole these classified documents, was it doctored? If there's anyone out there, by the way, saying, no, the DOJ would never do that, really? The same DOJ that supervised an operation to set up, frame, and spy on President Trump? The second one. Here's the second option. Maybe it wasn't doctored. Maybe it's legitimate. I don't know the answer. That's why I'm setting it up as a binary. If I knew it, I wouldn't be a binary. It'd be a unitary. I would say it's this. If it was doctored, it would make a whole lot of sense why the Department of Justice told Joe Biden, hey, we may not want to release those tapes. Winky, winky, nod, nod. Second, someone in the chat got this too. Does this brutally expose Biden's mental state? Folks, if he is on those recordings, given like 10 and 15 second delays and being coached by people to answer questions, does it feed back into what I told you in the beginning of the show? With the debates, with the replacement of Joe Biden, with the early debate setup, with the staff unbelievably agreeing to all this. Are they trying to get this guy out and the Biden team knows people are trying to get him out and they know if they release the tapes and it shows how cognitively impaired he is, it may be the end of his campaign? I don't know, folks. I'm just asking me some questions, but I'm telling you right now, it's only one of these two things. Either that transcript is not authentic and was doctored, or that transcript is authentic and Biden's brain's been doctored by some frontal lobe dementia or something else. Folks, this guy is in real trouble, man. And I want you to notice how he's trying the dipsy-do flipperoo here. What he's trying to do is he's colluding with the DOJ and Garland. I think Garland's probably trying to make amends because Biden thinks he screwed up the Trump case. And they are colluding to try to steal this election right now and hide Biden's significant cognitive impairment. How can you tell? I want you to notice how just recently Biden started going on the offensive, claiming that Trump is going to manipulate the attorney general's office if he gets elected and go after his enemies. Why would Biden do this? Because he's doing the Dan Bongino dipsy-do flipperoo theory. The Soviets did this. This is a long-used, long-tried Soviet propaganda tactic. Whenever you're doing something, accuse your enemy of doing it, and it'll take the attention off your malfeasance. Watch him talking to this young Democrat activist kid, telling him how he's so concerned that if Trump gets elected, they're going to go after their enemies using the attorney general's office when he's doing it right now, and it's already been reported on. Check this out.
Saying that what he's going to do is going to break a tradition of over 100 years. They're going to tell the attorney general who he should prosecute. They're going to prosecute him. He's going to get his enemies. I mean, this is the stuff of this is all anti-democratic, not Democratic Party, democracy. Right. It's at stake with this guy.
Is that Harry Sisson? That kid, that young kid? It looks. I can never tell. All these Democrat activists. They all blend into me. You know that guy, Evita? Yeah, it looks like him. Folks, this is the dipsy-do flipperoo. The Democrats accuse you of being racist when you mention replacement theory while they talk endlessly about replacement theory and demographic destiny. The Democrats accuse you of being an election denier when Hillary Clinton repeatedly and over stated that Donald Trump is basically a usurper who took power. They do this all the time. Biden is terrified right now that your people are going to uncover his malfeasance with the DOJ to manipulate the legal system for his own purposes. So what does he do? Of course, he blames Trump for doing the same thing. No one suckers in the media will pick up on it. Folks, this has already been reported on by the New York Times, how Biden is colluding with the Department of Justice to weaponize it. The New York Times already reported on it. Look, officials in the Biden White House have long expressed private consternation with Mr. Garland's pace. It's not private. It's being reported in the freaking New York Times. How stupid are you? They note that they had this explicit goal to pursue the case more aggressively. And in Georgia, a local prosecutor is going head on Mr. Trump's efforts to overturn his loss before Garland was sworn in. Folks, these guys are already pushing them publicly through the media. The collusion's already going on. Cut the bullshit. But don't worry, he told Morehouse College this weekend. He's an honest guy, folks. He means it. When he says something from the gut, it matters, despite the fact that the guy's lied about everything. Being raised in a black community, Puerto Rican community, Greek community, Polish community, goes to a synagogue, goes to the black church, goes to church. The guy probably says next he goes to mosques. He was a truck driver. Everything the guy says is bullshit. But don't worry. He says if it's from the gut, it all matters. Check this out.
Many of you graduates don't know me, but check my record. You know what I'm saying. I mean from my gut.
His gut. There's something else in his gut. Maybe some prebiotics to clean up that diaper issue he has. I mean, he was making a nasty little face. We saw that. He was like, it looked like he was holding something in or squeezing something out. I can't really tell which one. Is it not? Tell me I'm lying. Just look at his face, folks. Look at his face. Now, getting back to the debates for a second. I opened up the show with that Facebook question from that guy. It's a real question, man. We don't make this stuff up. But I thought it was interesting. I go through my Facebook and read this stuff a lot. I don't get to everything, but I'll read most of the comments. I try to. It's fascinating because I get a lot of people are worried. They're absolutely terrified that Donald Trump was set up. He took all these conditions. Yes, folks. Yes. You are correct. I'm not being condescending. I'm being accurate. You are actually correct. I stipulate the point. ABC or whatever, CNN. Yes, these crap moderators are going to screw Trump over. They've done it in the past. Yes, I get it. I'm just telling you. Joe Biden is in such cognitive disrepair, ladies and gentlemen, that it's the Democrats freaking out about this and not us. Because no matter what question Donald Trump's asked, he should answer whatever he wants. And he should not get baited into this precondition trap. They're going to try during the debate to bait him into this, will you accept the results of this election thing? Ladies and gentlemen, if an election's fair, of course you should accept the result. 2020 was a scam. And why should you accept it? What if it turns out in, in East Tuna Fish, we find out 60,000 people voted who weren't citizens? We're just supposed to accept it before we even know? They did this in 2020. This is what they're going to try to do. They're going to precondition the electorate using these debates that this thing is going to be fair before a vote's even been cast, and they don't even know if there was any cheating yet. Remember when Chris Wallace did this in 2020? Don't let this happen again. Watch this.
In 8 states, election workers are prohibited currently by law, 8 states, from even beginning to process ballots, even take them out of the envelopes and flatten them until Election Day. That means that it's likely, because there's going to be a huge increase in mail-in balloting, that we are not going to know on election night who the winner is, that it could be days, it could be weeks,
could be months,
until we find out who the new president is. So first for you, sir, finally for the vice president, I hope neither of you will interrupt the other. Will you urge your supporters to stay calm during this extended period, not to engage in any civil unrest? And will you pledge tonight that you will not declare victory until the election has been independently certified? President Trump, you go first.
I'm urging my supporters to go into the polls and watch very carefully, because that's what has to happen. I am urging them to do it.
Folks, they're doing it already. I'm going to show you in a second. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to show you, coming right up, how the media is already pre-preparing you, that you instantly must accept the results they tell you. Even if there's an issue, you will accept the results. Why? Because they said so. You understand this is the dipsy-do here again, correct? Just like with the drugs thing. They accuse Donald Trump of taking drugs because they think their guy may be taking drugs. They accuse you of being an election denier because they've never accepted the results of an election. Now, I want you to understand, they don't give a shit that Hillary Clinton and a bunch of Democrats, Jamie Raskin and others, Maxine Waters, have publicly and up on the Hill objected to election results over and over, 2004 and else. They don't care. All they want to do is nail conservatives into a box that if we detect possible shenanigans, that you shouldn't be able to talk about it. And they're already preconditioning you to accept an outcome. Here, look, right here. Always bring the receipts, brothers and sisters. I'll never waste your time. AP. I mean, you might as well be total communist Soviet agitprop. Non-citizen voting, already illegal in federal elections, becomes a centerpiece of 2024 GOP messaging. They note Democrats on the committee lambasted their Republican colleagues for focusing on what they call a non-issue, arguing it was part of Donald Trump's strategy to lay the groundwork for election challenges this fall. Do you get what they're doing here? The Democrats want this both ways. And when I say Democrats, I mean AP too in the media. They want to declare that the 10 million plus, and it's way over 10 million, illegals in the country, that them potentially voting is a total non-issue. So if it's a non-issue, why shouldn't we, I don't understand. If it's a non-issue, why are you so concerned about us doing something about it? You can't have it both ways. And secondly, do you see what they're doing here as well? If you detect any of this stuff and you speak about it, they're going to call you an election denier and go, hey, we warned you about this before the election, this AP article. This was a strategy. You can't have it both ways. If it's a non-issue, why are you worried about it? Then just pass some legislation. And I love how they put in a headline. The headline's freaking hilarious. Illegals voting, which is already illegal. And so is crossing the border. That's already illegal too. Doesn't seem to have stopped Joe Biden from opening up our southern border. Should we not do anything about that either? Hey, don't worry about the southern border, folks. It's already illegal to cross the border. It's not like anything's happening. It's a non-issue. It's exactly. This is such misleading partisan bullshit. They are preconditioning you to not ask any questions about the election. Do not fall for it. The same thing with the drugs thing, the same thing with their demographic destiny replacement theory thing, the same thing with election violence. They do it They predict it, they call for it, and then they say to Republicans, you better not do this. We're watching you. We're watching you. Folks, keep your eyes on the election by every single legal means. Poll watchers, these polling drop boxes, do not let them fleece this thing again. Your concerns about them stealing an election are valid, and that's why they want you to shut up about it. Until they can answer a question about why they have not accepted a single presidential election they've lost in the last 20 years. I'm going to play I got the clip of Rubio I'll play tomorrow. Some of you know what I'm talking about exactly this. I'm going to go into it again tomorrow. They do not want you to talk about their history of denying election results. It is the dipsy-do flipperoo. Hey, Geek, can we skip ahead to the zero hedge? Because I don't want to miss this. Folks, I'd be remiss if I did not address something that happened this weekend that really, I'm actually kind of surprised this isn't a bigger story. You may say, oh, it is. It was all over. Folks, it really wasn't. Should be like a wall-to-wall story on cable news outlets because the potential right here for serious global ramifications is real. So this happened yesterday. The Iranian president and some top officials were missing and feared dead after a helicopter crash. You may say, well, why are you putting an article from yesterday about being feared dead? Because the regime is saying they're dead now, and probably are, but I don't trust anything coming out of the Iranian regime at all. Strong likelihood that that's probably true. But if we asked ourselves some pretty basic questions. So the Iranian president's dead in a helicopter crash. I'm using air quotes here. And then this breaks yesterday, too. I'm sure it's totally unrelated, by the way. International Criminal Court prosecutor seeks arrest warrants for Benjamin Netanyahu and Hamas leader Sinwar. So whenever I see someone like the Iranian president go down in a helicopter crash, I always say to myself, a controversial terrorist figure like that, who benefits? Now, there was an immediate assumption by many people, of course, that, well, the Israelis may have had something to do with it. Maybe. I'm not shedding any tears for this scumbag. I'll tell you that right now. You know, I say often, I don't wish death on anyone, except that guy. Don't really care. Matter of fact, I hope when that helicopter hit the ground, it didn't hit any trees. We don't want to ruin any trees, you know. That would be very sad. Even some weeds on the ground, I don't want them burned up. You have any idea how many Americans and people and citizens around the world have been killed and tortured because of that scumbag? I don't even believe them when they say he's dead. He's probably dead, but I don't trust anything out of the Iranian regime. So let's juggle some possibilities here. Could the Israelis have done it? Maybe. I mean, the fact that the International Criminal Court pulled this ridiculous move and issued an arrest warrant for Netanyahu may have been a nice signal around the world that, we've got our tools to play too. Maybe. I'm not sure. But I'll say this. Could it be someone inside of Iran? I wouldn't discount that possibility. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not the first time that an Iranian high-level military or cabinet official has gone down in a helicopter crash in the mountains of Iran. And the thing about that is, given that it's happened before, the one thing about a helicopter crash in the mountains that's really difficult to get to and recover, especially when there's a fire afterwards, is it's really hard to prove because they don't have like an FAA type operation over there. It's really hard to prove what happened. So if you're an Iranian and you're, say, not a hardliner, and there are a lot of Iranian citizens, believe me, who are really pissed off, and then the Iranian president okays a ballistic missile attack on Israel that you think may lead to a war with Israel and the extermination of basically your country's leadership and cause a big ruckus, then maybe an insider did it. You always have to ask yourself, ladies and gentlemen, who benefits from this? Now, I don't know who did it. There's a lot of speculation. Of course, the third possibility is, which we should consider, maybe it was legitimately an accident. There was fog. It was cold. We've seen this before, helicopters, sometimes in those kind of conditions. We've seen it, sadly, Kobe Bryant, others. That was a fog situation, too, with mountains. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe the thing just wasn't maintained. I'm sure they don't have the best mechanic capabilities over there either. So it could be. But I'm going to tell you this, and this is my warning to you. Folks, power hates a vacuum. Power hates a vacuum. Oh, actually, I say power loves a vacuum, some power. Power vacuums can be extremely dangerous. Look at what happened in Libya. Just be careful over the coming days and weeks. Because again, the first impulse here was for everyone to say, oh, Israel did it. They could have. You know what? After attacking their country like that, I don't blame them. They'll do the same thing. But I wouldn't assume that's true. This could have been an insider attack just as easy as it could have been external. And he's right. Maybe we did it. Seriously, we have no idea. But no, I wouldn't be shocked at all. I wouldn't be shocked even one bit. I'm just saying, don't accept. I tell you this all the time. Apply the Bongino rule here. It's been some time now. Let this story simmer and then we'll figure it out. But stay frosty because that could get ugly fast. We hope it doesn't. You don't want another Libya situation, especially with a country that's working on a nuclear program. All right, a couple more stories for you. Geek, get the Pope Francis video from you. So this happened yesterday too. And I got to tell you, folks, this is really starting to bother me. I'm getting really upset. I'm a Catholic. I'm a church-going Catholic. I'm a sinner. I try to be a better person. I love Jesus. It matters to me. I'm not your preacher on the show. I'm not even like anything close to your preacher. If you're taking your moral values from me, you're in trouble. But Pope Francis has been just a consistent source of disappointment. I really having a hard time believing we went from Pope John Paul to Benedict to Pope Francis, who just consistently says the most empty and vapid things I've ever heard. And I'm really sorry if you're a Catholic and you object. I have an opinion on this, and I'm sticking to it. We have a Catholic Church for a reason. Catholic Church is like a club, and the club has rules. If you don't like the rules, then find a different club. It seems like the Pope takes every opportunity to attack people within the church who seem to think that the old rules were the good rules. And he's constantly going after conservatives. Now, this statement here, to be clear, is not about conservatives in a political sense. He's asked by 60 Minutes a question about conservative Catholics within the church. He's not being asked about conservatives in politics. But a lot of conservatives within the church think that there are a lot of things worth conserving. Matter of fact, folks, because something is older doesn't mean it's bad. Walls and wheels have been around forever. It doesn't mean they don't work. Old rules about love and the 10 Commandments seem to work quite well. The fact that they're old and have aged, they age like a fine wine. Why did the Pope need to say this about conservative Catholics? And if this upsets some of you, I'm really sorry, but I've got an opinion too. And I found this pretty offensive. Take a look.
There are conservative bishops in the United States that oppose your new efforts to revisit teachings and traditions. How do you address their criticism?
You used an adjective, conservative. That is, conservative is one who clings to something and does not want to see beyond that. It is a suicidal attitude. Because one thing is to take tradition into account, to consider situations from the past, but quite another is to be closed up inside a dogmatic box.
That's disgraceful. That's disgraceful. When I use that word deliberately, disgraceful. I'm watching you guys in the chat. A lot of you agree with me. Some of you don't. Man is the leader of the Catholic Church. He has an obligation to speak to all Catholics. And it seems that what he does, and you may say, Dan, voice your objection more clearly. Fair. It seems the Pope seems more than open to bending the rules to people who don't subscribe to Catholic teachings, right? He's, we got to be open and willing. And then when you get people who are like, hey, some of those old Catholic teachings seem to have stood the test of time, you say, that's suicidal. You guys are dogmatic, clinging to the past. Really? We're the problem. This Pope has been a nightmare for the Catholic Church. His thoughts on immigration and economics are patently absurd and childlike. And what he's saying here is a blatant attack on the people who show up at church on the weekend and keep the church viable. And I got to tell you, I was disgusted by almost the entirety of the interview. You ask him about people who don't subscribe to Catholic teachings, he is, welcome, come on in. And yet us, we're the problem. Evita, you need to do something on this, on the Bongino Report. This is like, please, because do you feel the same way or am I crazy? Thank you, because I know your mom has strong thoughts on this too. Evita's like, both. I know. Guy was, when I used to do my Fox show, we did a whole segment on Guy used to help produce the Fox show. Folks, this guy, there's something not right there. There is something not right. You are not the problem. All right, thanks again for tuning in. Hey, quick question. Bongino, I never do last minute polls, but are you guys okay with my Monday morning updates? Because sometimes I enjoy it. I only do it once a week. I really, my whole purpose, just so you know, is it's not some tactical marketing thing. I feel like you guys tell me a lot about yourselves. I get your Facebook messages. You tell me about your families and your kids. And I don't get the opportunity to tell you guys about me. So I take maybe 5, 7, 10 minutes on okay, good. I just, the show's for you and I don't want to bore you. I sincerely mean it. I feel like you guys are, entitled to a little piece of my life too. I just don't want to waste your time, good. That one was funny. And I promise you that happened exactly like I tell you. I even remember the guy's name. Paula, man. She's a stunner. I love her. Hey, thanks again for tuning in, folks. I really appreciate it. You guys so make the show worthwhile. I'll be back here in the channel and radio show in a few minutes and live here tomorrow on Rumble. Oh, Patrick Bet David show too on Thursday. We're going to have a live show from his studio while we do his show before. It's going to be really cool. So big announcements this week. Rumble.com/Bongino every day at 11 a.m. Join us, download the Rumble app, and please give us a follow on Apple and Spotify. We've been rocking up the charts there too. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Please do us that favor. It means a lot to us. See you back here tomorrow.
You just heard The Dan Bongino Show.